a nice afternoon with us. I know that exams is just around the corner, and for some of you it's going to be the first time that you are going to write two papers of 150 mark each. So I'm quite sure that you guys are a bit nervous, but please be assured that with me and Mr. Edwards here, and if you go through all your telematics sessions before, you should be well prepared for that exam. And with that said, welcome Mr. Edwards to this afternoon session.
Thank you very much.
And guys, without further ado, I'm going to start. But before we start with today's topic, I just want you to go, or just want to go through with you with all the contact details where you can reach us. In terms of this session here, you can contact Mr. Lester Momberg on ldmomberg@gmail.com, or you can have access to the WCDE portal at http://wcdeportal.co.za, or you can contact us, since this is a live session today, on the WhatsApp number that you find there, 0837921239, and we will be sure to answer your questions. Right, in order for you to gain access to the Telematics School website, you need to complete the registration form. This is, of course, a no data or a, what is it, zero rated site. So guys, please be sure to check that out. Okay, now guys, this today's session is going to be on relationship and team performance. It's quite a nice session of work. I actually like this section quite a bit, and since I am qualified in HR in my field of study, we've done a lot on teamwork as well. Right, so without further ado guys, before we start with the content, please just look in your workbooks. You will find these terminologies and things that you need to know, and of course you can look at your exam guidelines. So these things come straight from the exam guidelines. So if you study this section of work, you can use this as a tick box of what you should be able to do. So you guys can go through that. I think the session is set out today that you can actually find most of those things in this session today. Right. The terminology, we will be touching on many of these terminologies in the different slides that we will do today, so you can always refer back to them, and if you're not certain, and that will give some clarity. Right, now guys, we are going to begin today's discussion on the meaning of business objectives. Now guys, as you can see there, business objective is a result that a company wants to achieve, and of course the strategies. The strategies mean a plan of action on how we're going to reach what we plan to do. Right, now guys, you need to be able to outline or name or list examples of business objectives. Now in the past we would have said there was something like a primary and a secondary objective, but if you remember these ones that we are going to do there, it is 100%. Okay, now guys, the first and foremost objective of any business, otherwise there's no reason for the business to exist, is to make a profit. Now guys, in order for us to make a profit, we need to be productive. Now, what does the word productive means? Guys, I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible to understand. Productivity means I want to get much more output with minimizing my input. So I need to get more done with less things that I want to put in to get it done. That is productivity. Now, guys, an unproductive business means I'm spending a lot of resources in order to get an output, and that means my profitability will be much lower. So therefore, if I can get more done with the least amount of resources, that is why it's a business objective. I need to get as productive as I can in order to make a profit. Right, now guys, in order for us to be productive, we need to be sustainable. Sustainable means that we would be able to carry on over a long period of time. So a business that is not sustainable will run out of resources in the near future, and that means that business cannot continue to make a profit. So sustainability means the business needs to be able to carry on over a long period of time. Right, and the next one, in order for us to be sustainable, we need to exhibit social responsibility. Now guys, social responsibility means a business is not an island. It is an entity that gets their resources from nature, their human resources from the community, and therefore we need to look after both of those resources. If we are not socially responsible, it means we are going to ruin our natural resources, and we are going to alienate people because we are not going to put resources back to the community. So guys, a business that is not socially responsible is not sustainable. It's a business that is not sustainable cannot be productive, and an unproductive business cannot be profitable. Right. Now guys, a question that you might get is to elaborate or define the meaning of a business objective. Now you guys can see there, there's a line drawn there. That means that is our action verb that you need to take a specific look at. Elaborate or define is going to be a lower order question, but it still carries a split mark that I will show you later. The second thing that you need to look out for is, of course, the mark allocation. In this case, it's 2, and that means I'm going to require only one fact that is well explained, and this is how it will be marked. A business objective is a result that a company wants to achieve. Right, so that's my statement, and the strategies and how they will achieve it. That's an elaboration on my statement, and that is going to be the second mark, and therefore the 2 marks. So guys, please look out for these things, and we will be giving you some tips throughout this presentation on how to look for these specific action verbs and how to tackle those answers.
Ms. Fonsel, I just wanted to jump in there. With regards to these action verbs, you should have access to a document called the exam guidelines. In the exam guidelines, they outline all the types of action verbs that in business studies we use. By this stage, you should be getting used to some of the action verbs that we are using and what the expectations are when answering the question based on that action verb that we're referring to. So the example here is define. There's others that we come across: explain, discuss, describe, and all of them carry with it an expectation as to how we expect you to answer the question. So please, if you have access to that exam guideline, make sure that you have that available when you're doing your revision in class and also when you're studying for your exam.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Guys, I need to reiterate, I cannot stress this enough, that I know that in grade 9, you guys have not really been exposed to all of these different things. You guys write out of general knowledge. You haven't put in the effort that is required in grade 10. And there's a big jump from grade 9 to grade 10. So guys, these action verbs make the difference whether you're going to get your 50% or 80%. So please make sure that you know that quite well. Right. Now guys, the next thing that you guys need to be able to do is to explain the benefits of teamwork. Now you can see that there are bolded letters there. That is normally the letters that are missing from your booklet, and you can fill it in if you were not certain. Right, now guys, every one of these things that I'm going to do is in the form of a question. So that question says explain. So once again, look at the action verb explain. Explain means I need to give a statement and I need to give a qualifier on that statement. So elaborate on it or say what it is. I will explain to you now as we go along. The second thing, again, you need to look at your mark allocation. In this case, it's 4. So that means I'm going to require 2 facts. So let's look at the first one. It says the members of the team learn from each other and grow. Now guys, a benefit means what will the business get out of it if we promote teamwork. Now if you look at that first bullet point, the members of the team learn from each other and grow. That means that we don't always have the same skill sets. There are other people that know about certain topics or certain things more than what I do, so therefore I can learn from them on their point of view, and then I can adjust my thinking, and they can learn from me if I have a specific skill set or knowledge that they might not get. So in the process, all members of the team is actually enriching their own knowledge. Right, so let's quickly have a look at how it's going to be marked. The members of the team learn from each other, and the moment that you see the word and is normally a nice indicator if there's going to be a qualifier. And what happens when they work together and learn from each other? They grow. And when we speak about grow, that means professionally my knowledge is also added to, and my skill sets also gets better. Right. The team achieves more than the individual. Now guys, for those of you that are really interested in this subject, I would like you to write down a word. You don't need to know the definition of that word for this particular presentation, but the word is called synergy. Now synergy means that the output is greater than the sum of its parts. Now that sounds very elaborate. Now guys, what that basically means, me and Mr. Edwards are sitting here, he's working on a specific task. When he's done, that is his output, that is what he could have done on his own. If I work on my own, that is my output once I'm done. But if me and Mr. Edwards work together, then the output is so much more than what we could have achieved if we've worked on our own. So that basically means that 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's well, that is if we worked on our own. 2 plus 2 in synergy means 7. I get so much more out of it because we combine our efforts and we fill each other's weaknesses and we enhance each other's strengths, and that means the output will be so much better. So that is what that sentence means. The team achieves more than the individual. So let's see how it's going to be marked. The team achieves more, I would say, put the mark there, more than who? The individual, if the individual should work on their own. Right, good teamwork helps the business to achieve its objectives. I think that is very self-explanatory. I'm not going to explain that, but this is how it's going to be marked. Good teamwork helps business to achieve what? Its objectives. Right. It gives employees more control over what? Over their job. The performance of all team members improves. Now, I've already explained to you why they should improve, because we fill each other's weaknesses and we enhance each other's strength because they support each other's skills. Right, now guys, I'm just quickly, for the sake of time, just quickly going to go through where the other marks are going to go. Teamwork encourages workers to increase their range of skills, to increase productivity, which has got to do with synergy. And then teamwork improves effective communication. Right, there you go. Now guys, for a 4-mark question, any 2 of those facts would have been enough. But if you study this section of work, please remember any 4 bullet points. Don't go and try and remember all of them. Go and take the 4 that makes the most sense to you. You remember those, and that's it. Don't try to cram all of this information in your head. There's too many facts in business studies to remember. So therefore, work smarter. Right. Now guys, the next one is something that I want you to write an NB. Nota bene. It means very important. the ways in which businesses can create an environment that enables teams to work effectively. The reason why I say it's so important is because it carries through to grade 12. And anything that carries through to grade 12 will be emphasized by good educators that know what the learners need to expect and what they need to prepare for. So this is a very important specific one. Now guys, normally this question would be asked in the way of suggest or recommend ways in which a business can create an environment that enable teams to work effectively. Now guys, there it basically means that you need to think critically. You need to understand the section of work in order to apply that information. Now guys, the marks is allocated at the end of the sentence like you would see now, but I implore you, don't go just because you forgot the specific bullet points in the test and leave this space blank. You guys all have worked in teams before. You know what the teacher should do in their class in order to make people work together and to collaborate. You know all of these things. Make those suggestions. Write what you know. Never leave an answer blank. Right, let's go with the first one. The business can make sure that employees understand and believe in business objectives. Now guys, remember, a team is a group of people that works towards a common goal. Now the only reason why people would work towards a common goal is because they believe in where it's heading. So the first job of every manager is to sell that objective, the heading, where we're going. And if everybody buys into that objective, then they will be willing to cooperate in order for us to make that happen. So that's the very first step. Make sure that employees understand and believe in the business objectives. The next one, the business should listen to employees when they share ideas. Don't let people feel left out. If I want them to collaborate, I need to create the space for them to do so, and communication is key. And that means I need to listen as well as instruct. So that is very important.
And Mr. Vansel, as soon as people are contributing their ideas, they feel motivated and appreciated as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's important to remember. Go for it.
Okay, right. And then important decisions should be taken through a process of teamwork, collaboration, where people share ideas and therefore we can come up with a solution together. Otherwise, we're not going to get people to believe in the objective anymore if they don't understand where they're heading and they feel that they are completely shot down all the time. And then the next one, good teamwork need to be rewarded, and mistakes must be viewed as opportunities to learn and grow. We're not going to go and put people down because they've made a mistake. As a team member, I respect you. I understand that you are a human being. I will rather help you so that we can make things better. And in that case, if we reward people for showing that collaboration, people would be more inclined to embrace more of it, and therefore we will enable teamwork to flourish. Guys, just so by the way, in this section of work as well, the ways in which a business can create this, you need to remember for me 4 bullet points as well. Not more, but 4. There are actually many more, but that is okay if you remember only 4. Right. Now guys, in any workplace, there are different types of relationships that form. Now later on, when you guys go to university, you will learn about formal and informal relationships. These relationships are the way people interact with one another, and that is called interpersonal relationships. So let's quickly go and look at the meaning. Now guys, don't go and remember any more than 2 of these bullet points. The meaning, interpersonal relationships in the workplace, refers to a strong association among individuals working in the business, the way we interact with one another. The quality of interpersonal relationships impacts on the productivity of teams. Now guys, basically what that means is if our interpersonal relationships in the workplace is strained, people don't get along, they don't communicate, or they don't like each other, the team will never be able to become productive. Later on in grade 11, you guys will learn about the Tuckman hypothesis, or the stages of team development. And there's one particular stage that's very important where conflict arises. But you need to move past that in order for a business to become, or for a team to become productive.
I think it also comes back to that comment you made earlier with regards to synergy. Synergy, if there's synergy within the workplace, then it means that people are going to be inevitably productive. So as soon as possible, a team wants to get that to that stage of synergy, and then they would be productive. So that is critical in the process of getting to that stage.
Right. And then, guys, the next one, interpersonal relationships in the workplace allows team members to share a special relationship. Now, I'm not going to elaborate on that one any further. Team members build up a relationship of trust. That is very important, guys. There's many times that we don't trust other people's ability. So we'd rather do things ourselves rather than share responsibility with someone else, because we are not certain if they would do it the way I would have done it. Now, guys, that is not a trust relationship. You can never achieve synergy if we work individually. We need to trust one another's skill. The next one is openness. Openness means I have the what's vrymoedigheid? I cannot now remember, my English has left me for a second. Openness means my willingness and the acceptance for someone to share their opinions and communicate with me. Right, that is openness. And the next one is understanding. And that all boils down to communication. Communication means our ability to share information and get good feedback from that information so that we can grow. Right, and the last one, everyone plays a role in achieving business objectives. So it is important to develop employees individually. Right, if employees are skilled and knowledgeable, teams will be strong and efficient. Now, guys, there's just one disclaimer for that last one. You can have the most absolutely brilliant people with a hell of a load of skill, but if they don't have the relationship part of it, they can't get along, then we cannot harness that potential of knowledge and skill, because the relationship is what builds everything together. Right. So, guys, I'm going to step off this now. Let's quickly look at the factors that can influence team relationships, and of course also the ways in which we can address those factors that influence these team relationships. Now, guys, these are concepts that you need to know. Please make sure that you can identify these from case studies to know we are speaking about specifically this. And if the question then follows on to say that factor that you've identified from the case study, suggest ways on how to deal with that, then you need to be able to do that. If you have identified the factor wrong, then your suggestions would also be wrong. So make sure that you understand, not just know it, but understand the concept so that you can pick it out from a case study. Right. Now, guys, the first one is prejudice. Now, what is prejudice? You guys have probably heard this all your life, because we have come from a divided past, and a lot of effort is going into getting rid of prejudice. But unfortunately, guys, as human beings, we are hardwired to be prejudicial on various different aspects, not just what we are used to on race and all of these, but on various different aspects we can be prejudicial. So we need to be aware of our own prejudices as well when we deal with other people. So let's just quickly have a look. Prejudice, it's the personal attitudes and prejudices of managers and other staff that can result in discrimination and can erode good communication and teamwork in the business. Guys, because I don't like a specific type of people, you guys have probably heard loads of, how can I say, sexist jokes before. and it becomes a way of life, and now all of a sudden I need to work for a female boss. All of a sudden, I don't trust this lady because I am prejudiced towards her. I've heard that working for a woman is not very good because they are this and this and this. Guys, it's not true because it's on individual basis, but that prejudice influences me to form that relationship on that basis. And that influenced the way I'm going to work with my new boss or my new co-workers or whatever the case may be. Right, examples of prejudices are based on gender, religion, disability, social background, my appearance, race, age, sexual orientation, my education level, all of these, because I make assumptions based on those things that is sometimes not true. Right, now guys, how are we going to deal in a workplace with prejudice? Now that you will see in the blue block over there, and once again guys, anything where you need to suggest, please, if you've forgotten what these bullet points are, make your own suggestions. It just might be acceptable answers and you will get those credited marks. Right, so let's have a look. Educate all your workers about discrimination and the stance of the business on discrimination, that it will not be tolerated. Encourage workers to respect each other's differences. Guys, we can do this through workshops or team building sessions where these things are really put to the fore and we try to persuade people to change their cultural belief. Right, the next one, respond to any evidence or complaints of inappropriate behavior. Don't brush it under the carpet because then it will feed the prejudice. Make sure that you deal with it and that you can deal with the conflict that it creates as well. The next one, deal with any complaints of discrimination promptly. Do it immediately. Don't wait for it to become something bigger. Work on it immediately. And do so confidentiality. We're not going to lay it on and tell everybody that this person has said this about that person, because it will just feed the animosity and the conflict. Right. The next one that we are going to do is discrimination. Guys, discrimination means unfairly, I'm treating one group of people unfairly or not the same as another group. And that is what discrimination means. Discrimination involves excluding or restricting members of one group from opportunities that are available to other groups. And that can be based on religion, on age, ethnicity, gender, disability, skin color, or race. It sounds very the same as prejudice, but prejudice is about a specific attitude. Discrimination is where we actually do something. It's an overt act where we will not give a person that is of a different sexual orientation that I am a promotion because we just don't like those people. That is active discrimination, and it's actually not allowed in our constitution as well. Now, how do we deal with discrimination in the workplace? The first one, don't show any favoritism to any employee. Guys, that perception goes out very quickly, and that is like a negative thing that starts getting a foothold in the business, and that can erode any goodwill that you have with your staff. So don't tolerate any of this, and don't show favoritism to anybody. Keep your personal beliefs personal. Guys, all of us have prejudice. It's unfortunately part of being human being. But in your professional capacity, that should be not in your way of thinking. It should not influence the way you make decisions. Right, the next one, be careful of what you say and to whom you say it, because it might be interpreted differently. It might not be your intention to say something that could be seen as racist or sexist or whatever, but the way it is perceived or interpreted by different people can be sometimes wrong, and that creates conflict. So rather count your words before you speak, especially in a professional setting. And the last one, formalize the policy of the business. We will not tolerate any form of discrimination. Those that make themselves guilty of discrimination, this is going to be the consequence. We call that a code of conduct, and it must be formalized in your code of conduct. Right. So that is discrimination. The next one is equity. Now, guys, equity refers to everyone receives fair treatment and everybody have equal access to opportunities. Right. Now, guys, that basically means that not all of us had the same background, and because they were actively discriminated against people in the past, they deserve a bit of extra help. And that is also part of equity. They cannot get hold of or make use of the opportunities like people that were advantaged, so therefore we need to help them so that they can have equal access to those opportunities and the playing ground is fair. It also includes things like equal pay for equal work. Now, guys, in the sports arena, you've probably now heard, I think the latest one, the Indian cricket league.
Team, yeah.
The Indian cricket team. The ladies are now getting paid the same match fees as what the gentlemen get paid.
Correct, yes.
And that is a way to decrease what we call the gender pay gap. Right. Now, how can we deal with this? Develop a fair, respectful, supportive, and inclusive workforce. Make sure that we have people from all different areas, different races, genders, people with disabilities, so that all of us are represented. Make judgments based on merit and fairness, not based on who the person knows or their background, but on merit. And the last one, recognize every person's contribution. Don't play favorites, as we have said with the previous slide. And then, of course, guys, the last one is diversity. Right, what is diversity? A diverse workforce includes people with different characteristics, like with other words, race, ethnicity, cultural background, sexual orientation, education, people with disabilities. All of those people need to be included in my workplace if we really want to say that we are an inclusive society. So how can we make this happen? You can create inclusive policies and practices. You can provide diversity training so that we can explain to people all the different people that are in our business and how we should treat these people, or how we should treat one another, and what is acceptable and what is not. Right. Facilitate effective communication, and guys, encourage interaction with other people so that we can be more accepting. Right. Now, guys, the next section is going to be on an example question. Now, that's going to be in the form of a case study, which you can read there. Office Stationeries formed a sales team that sells their stationery in the Free State. Some team members do not tolerate each other due to different cultural beliefs. Now, guys, that is something in a case study that you can already draw a line under. Paul also does not like Zizi because he does not know her. Now, the question was, identify 2 factors that influence team relationships. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario above, and then use the table below as a guide to answer your question. Now, guys, whenever you get a guide, sometimes in the question paper they will give you a little thing. You draw that in your workbook or on your answer sheet, and you follow that instruction. It just makes it easier for the marker to mark. Right. Now, guys, there are 2 things that you need to do here. You see the question says identify 2 factors that influence team relationships. Now, guys, we are looking for anything like diversity or prejudice or those things that we have just done. That is what you're looking for. Your motivation comes in the form of a quote, and you will see now that the quote is verbatim from the case study. Do not use your own words at all. Always use the exact words as it is in the case study. Right, So the two factors, we've got diversity. I told you, you can see in the paper there, it says members do not tolerate each other due to different cultural beliefs. That is diversity. There are different people in the business and they don't always get along. Right, the motivation is a quote. Some team members do not tolerate each other due to different cultural beliefs. Guys, do not use a small part of the sentence. Use the entire sentence. It's much better, and because it's only one mark, sometimes you guys miss the essence of the sentence. Rather quote the whole thing. Right, the next one is prejudice. Paul also does not like Zizi because he does not know her. So that is prejudice. I already have a preconceived idea of who this person is. I don't know her, but I assume or accept that she's going to be like a specific characteristic that I assign to her, which may be false. Right, so guys, this is how it might be asked. We've gone through explain, discuss, we've made suggest ways, so you guys should be well versed on how this section of work should be asked. Now guys, I'm going to leave you now in the hands of Mr. Edwards for the next last part of this presentation.
Sorry, just to comment with regards to the mark allocation there. So for the factors, we would be putting 2 marks for diversity, 2 marks for prejudice, and then 1 mark for the quote.
1 mark for the quote.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so that would be 6 marks in total. All right, so grade 10s, we're going to move on to a section. We're looking at the criteria for successful team performance. Now, this is very important because it does follow through to the grade 11 and 12. At some stage, you might come across it again. And there are only the 4 criteria that we're going to be referring to. So the first one that we're going to be looking at, and we'll go through these a little bit more depth, okay, a little bit later. First one is interpersonal attitudes and behavior. All right, we spoke about interpersonal relationships earlier, but now we're looking at the interpersonal attitudes between people and the behavior that comes with it. Then we're going to move on to the communication. We have stressed a few times already how important communication is to the success of a team and its productivity that it's able to achieve. Right, then shared values, mutual trust and support. Now shared values we're going to chat about a little bit, but it comes down from the leaders and the managers of the team environment. So your team leaders, they need to be able to instill those values and ensure that there's trust amongst the team members, and with that trust then comes the support that is needed when trying to achieve that productivity that we've spoken about. The last one is cooperation and collaboration. Okay, cooperation is being able to work with others, and collaboration is working on specific tasks together. There's numerous ways these days where you can collaborate with each other. I mean, I often talk about how we're able to do it from different parts of the world these days over the means of Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and the like. You can all work on a specific document together, and that is collaboration. We're able to do it in several ways these days. Okay, so we're going to broaden on these a little bit. So moving on to the first explanation of interpersonal attitudes and behaviors. Okay, so first and foremost, team members encourage one another in pursuit of the goals of the team. Right, so again, coming down to the objectives of the team being very important, and everybody's on the same page with regards to that, the objectives. And again, that comes down to the management instilling the objectives and pushing the objectives forward. By supporting one another, individual members experience job satisfaction, which may lead to improved productivity. Working with each other and working as a team can be incredibly rewarding and satisfying. And if you're able to achieve those goals as a team, it can be very satisfying. You all know this. You've probably been working together or playing together in a team environment, be it sports, in a project format. And if you achieve those goals as a team, it is very, very rewarding. Okay, last one there for interpersonal attitudes and behavior is team members work together passionately to achieve a common goal. You can just have a look at your local soccer team, or if you watch any soccer team on the TV, you'll see the passion that comes with working or playing as a team and achieving those goals. Right, shared values, mutual trust and support. Team members respect one another despite differences that may exist amongst the team. Right, so that respect comes with, the team leader instilling that requirement or that expectation from each other in respecting each other's differences. And we have a very diverse population in South Africa, and it should be seen as an advantage and respected by all the team members. Okay, the experiences of other team members are acknowledged. Okay, so the experiences, the skills, it needs to be recognized by each of the team members, and through that you respect each other's skill level, and no doubt you're able to learn from each other as well. Communication, the role of every team member is set out in the procedures that the team must adhere to. Again, that comes down to the policies that have been put in place by team leaders. Okay, people know what is required of them, and that communication has been instilled in the team environment. Speedy decisions are made if communication amongst the team members is clear. Okay, so it allows decisions to be made far quicker than they would be because there's less discussion required. People know what is required from them and who they are going to be referring to if they don't understand something at any particular point. Constructive feedback leads to better decision making at the next opportunity. Okay, so constructive feedback is feedback from your leaders or potentially feedback from other team members. Okay, it's important. Often it's a little bit of bone of contention. People might not be happy with hearing negative feedback, for example, but it needs to be clear that is constructive and it's not discriminatory in any way or insulting in any way. Constructive feedback can be very, very useful in ensuring that the next time something happens, it is a positive outcome. The last one is cooperation and collaboration. Each team member knows exactly what they are expected to do because the goals are clear, again, coming from the team leaders. Team members are willing to work with one another in pursuit of the goals of the team. Everybody has the objectives of the team or the objectives of the business as their main criteria. Decision making is a collaborative effort between all team members and supervisors. So it's not autocratic in nature. It's not your team leaders telling you exactly what is required. Everybody has a say, and it's democratic in nature. So everybody has the opportunity to give their opinion, and through that, people are motivated. They don't feel like that they're being put down or anything like that. They are involved in the decision making, and that is a very motivating factor. All right, moving on to the note there. The criteria of successful teams serves as a guideline on how teams should interact with each other when working on a project. All right.
Right, Mr. Edwards, I would just like to say here, guys, this question can also be asked like we've asked the previous one. You have to identify it from case studies and motivate it. Now, guys, if a question is asked to you like this, discuss the criteria of successful team performance. I want you to name the criteria first and then give me one description. Okay, the discussion is only going to be 1 mark. Even if it's not, you're still going to get your 2 marks per description. So please remember for me the name, the interpersonal attitudes and behavior, or any one of all 4 of these. You need to remember all 4 of them. But remember for me to name it and then give me the discussion. The explanation is going to be 1 mark as well. So this is important for your tests.
And this is often a 6-mark question. Hey?
Oftentimes.
So you'd have two criteria that you would need to identify. In the identification, you get the 2 marks for each, and then the 1 mark for the discussion thereafter. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to some example questions with regards to this. Right, so moving on. The next slide there. Okay, so state 3 examples of business objectives. Right, this should be directly from your booklet. So we're going to go through some of the answers. Note the verbs, the action verb that has been referred to there. State. So this would be a 3-mark question. Right, there were 4 that were given. Right, you had to identify 3. So firstly, there's the 3 out of the 4: to make a profit, to be productive, to be sustainable. Now, just remember, if you have given us, say, for example, 4 answers there, and the first one that you've given is incorrect, okay, unfortunately, we only mark the first 3. So keep that in mind. We will actually cross out the 4th one, irrespective of whether it is correct or not. We only mark the first 3 because we have asked for 3. State 3 examples of business objectives. That could be given as name 3 examples. It could be given as list 3 examples of business objectives. Okay, moving on to the next one. Indicate the factors that influence team performance referred to in the statements below. Right, so the first one, a negative attitude towards an individual. The factor that is included there will be prejudice. Okay, 2.2, a conviction that is generally accepted to be true without evidence or proof. Okay, that would be belief. Excluding or restricting members of one group from opportunities that are available to the other groups. If you recall, that would be discrimination. All right, so those are the answers there. Moving on to the question number 3. Indicate the criteria for successful teams referred to in each of the following statements. Okay, so team members are willing to work with one another in pursuit of the goals of the team. Okay, team members respect or trust one another despite differences that may exist among the team. And then number 3, team members encourage one another in pursuit of the goals of the teams. Okay, if you recall, those were the discussions that came with the criteria. The first one is obviously cooperation and collaboration. They're working with one another in pursuit of the goals of the team. The second one, shared values, mutual trust and support. Okay, and then the third one, interpersonal attitudes and behaviors. All right, so that was for 3.3, team members encourage one another in pursuit of the goals of the team. That's question 3. Moving on to section A, multiple choice type questions that you might come up against. Right, so these will not be in your booklet, but there are 5 examples that you will come across here. All right, so the first one, way to address factors that influence prejudice within a team. Okay, there are obviously the 4 options there. You need to choose the most appropriate answer. Okay, so the answer for that one will be... Okay.
Must they figure it out?
Yeah, it should be there. There we go. Educate all workers about discrimination. If I recall, that was the first example that was given to you. Examples of business objectives, right? Remember, there were 4, okay? To be sustainable is the one that was identified there. So to produce more, to be competitive, to win, not quite the right answer there. To be sustainable is the one that we're looking for. Number 3, the connection between employees, colleagues, customers, and suppliers can be best described as... Okay, relationships. All right, so that was in the definition of relationships. Okay, so that's numbers 1, 2, and 3. We have number 4 and 5. Okay, 4 and 5, ways to address factors that influence discrimination within a team. Okay, the way to address that would be keep your personal beliefs personal. Okay, so keep them to yourselves when appropriate. Okay, the following can best describe equity. That would be letter A, the practice of being fair or impartial in the workplace, okay, making sure that everybody has equal access to opportunities. All right. The next one that we're going to be looking at, so those are multiple choice type questions, section C. So we've been through section A type questions and multiple choice, section B type questions, now we're looking at section C questions. Usually in this section of work, you will get an essay question, okay? And you would need to choose one out of the two if you're looking at the final exam. Okay, it will be provided with a scenario, so you can have a read through scenario, and then you will have the generally 4 bullets. Okay, 4 bullets there. It says write an essay on relationships and team performance in which you include the following aspects. So you've got the 4 main bullets, and then you've got subheadings as well. So the first one is outline the factors that can influence team relationships. Explain the following criteria for successful team performance. So they've given us 3. Okay, then we look at discuss benefits of teamwork, and then lastly, suggest ways in which businesses can create an environment that enables teams to work effectively. As you can see, they are very much similar to your section B type questions, but in an essay format. So you've got the subheadings that are provided to you there. So when you're putting together your essay, you need to use those as your subheadings. Right, so here is your layout. We'll go through the layout in a little bit more depth. Okay, so looking at the screen, please note the following regarding an essay needs to have an introduction, body, and conclusion. Always recommended to put those words there, especially your introduction and conclusion. They need to be there in order to get your layout mark. All right, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Van Zyl here just to give you a few details with regards to the introduction and the conclusion and the layout of the essay.
Right. Okay, now boys and girls, you have now seen that an essay question consists, and I'm just quickly going to go back to that example question on your screen. You will see that there's a leading statement or a scenario. We call it a leading statement in an essay, and that will give you an indication already what the essay is going to be about. Please remember that you cannot quote anything from that leading statement in your essay. It will be marked as a repeat because you must use new information. Right, so that's your leading statement. And then, as Mr. Edwards have explained, there are 4 main bullet points. Now guys, mostly people make a massive mistake to think that the first bullet point in my question, outline the factors that can influence team relationships, that is going to be my introduction, and I write something, that's my introduction. Then in my body is explain the following criteria for successful team performance and discuss the benefits of teamwork. I put that in my body, and the last bullet point there is going to be my conclusion. Now guys, if you do that, you are going to miss out on a massive amount of marks. The reason is an introduction only counts 2, and that outline the factors that can influence team relationship can count 10 marks. You must put that in your body. Every bullet point there is in the body of the essay and has nothing to do with the introduction and the conclusion. So please remember that. I will give you hints now on how to write a good introduction and a conclusion. Right, so guys, an essay type question has got headings. It's going to start with the word introduction. It must be there. Then I'm looking for 2 facts that will indicate or that will serve as an introduction. Now, how do I know what is going to be in an introduction? Now guys, I'm going to go back again to my leading statement and my question. Now in your introduction, you need to introduce the factors that influence team relationships. So you can say anything about what it is. You can do anything about criteria for successful team performance, what it is, or why it is necessary. Why do we have teamwork? Anything that you're not going to repeat in your body. I only required 2 sentences. what something is or why is it necessary. And only 2 sentences for your introduction. Okay, now once you've done your introduction, you're going to start with your headings, right? So you've got your 2 sentences for your introduction. Now my first heading is outline the factors that can influence team performance. If you write that question down just like that as your heading, that will count as a heading. It doesn't require marks at this point, but we now know that you're going to deal with this section of work. And then you put 4 bullet points down, the 4 that I've told you to remember. Right, and the next one you write there, explain the following criteria for successful team performance. Write it just like that. And then you have your subheadings, interpersonal attitudes and behavior. You give 2 bullet points or 1. Shared values, give 1. Collaboration, give 1. You can see there's no mark allocation attached there, so you can write as much as you want. Okay, then discuss the benefits of teamwork. That's your next heading. And the last heading, suggest ways in which a business can create an environment that enables teamwork. Now guys, in each case you write as much as you know. Don't run out of time. I think 4 bullet points in each of these is 100% enough, because in an essay question there is normally more marks available than what you can actually get. Now guys, now we're going to get to your conclusion. You write the word conclusion there. Draw a line under it if you want to. This is my conclusion. Now I'm looking for one fact, and that one fact is an outcome or a result of if you've done something like this. Let's say, suggest if a business create an environment that creates that's effective for business or for teamwork, then they will be more productive. If a business, if you have good ways to deal with all of these issues that influence team performance, I will have less conflict. That's a result. If I do this, then this will happen. I only need 1 sentence for that, and that will give you your 2 marks for a conclusion, because the maximum that a conclusion can count is 2. Now guys, in an essay question, you get mahala marks, free for nothing. The first one, if the word introduction was there and you've written something underneath it, then you already get an L mark next to the word introduction. That's your first mark. That L is a mark. If you have 4 headings written, you don't know anything about this essay, but you've written the 4 questions down as your headings, then you get 1 A mark for analysis. I understand what the question is about. If the word conclusion is there with something written underneath it, then you get another L mark. So how many marks have you got for not knowing anything? You have 3 marks already. Now guys, if you have only 1 correct fact on your whole essay and nothing else was correct, it's not irrelevant, but it was incorrect, but you've got 1 correct fact, you are going to get both your S marks as well. So now you've got 5 marks for actually knowing very, very little. So guys, an essay question is a place where you can make up marks even if you only know the structure of it. So please make sure that you know the structure of an essay. Have the word introduction there, have your 4 headings there, have the word conclusion there, and write something underneath each of those things. And I can tell you, you will get marks for free. And that mark is sometimes the difference between a pass or a fail, or the difference between a 40 and a 30%. So please make sure that you know how this works. So in the last bullet over there, the introduction, I've explained to you how to do that. I've explained to you how to do a conclusion. So guys, you can use that format to see how an essay question is structured. Right. Now guys, I'm just going to end off with a last couple of slides. The importance of the action verb and mark allocation must be known. You need to know what to do when it says list, explain, discuss, analyze. Right, and guys, we are done for this section. Thank you very much, Mr. Edwards, for joining us in this section. And guys, I wish you the best of luck for your exams.
Right, all the best, grade 10s.